Coming up on This Is True Really News, a backyard camp out.
Hey, those are
those. Those are a hoot.
We never did those.
We did them all the time.
Yeah, that explains a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We used to roam the neighborhood all night.
And there we are. My parents loved me.
Yeah. My parents kept locking the doors whenever we. Man, I never.
Oh, yeah, honey, they're out of the house. All of them, I think so.
Woo. So
you're lucky you had Sue and Lisa, because they were the only ones that'd be bright enough to get back into the house.
Yeah, well,
And
they knew how to do it. They'd ring the doorbell.
They'd probably feel bad enough and let you psychotics in, and there you are.
So if this is the kind of stuff that you're into, like backyard campouts, where you lock your children in the yard, out of the house, please subscribe, and follow.
How many people do you know have their yard in the house? Really?
Well, I've seen. I mean,
only people that I know that do that would be talking about 9:00 a.m. in the morning.
I've seen AstroTurf in houses.
Yeah, not the same thing, dude.
I know. In any case, if you find a story you think is funnier than what we've worked on so far, just send it to TITR@netradio.network, and we will be happy to put it on. But please, like, subscribe, and follow.
You know, they could just start their own show and bypass us.
And would it be as funny as this?
Rhetorical question?
Sorry, I asked.
Yeah, you are.
This is True, Really News with Scott Combs and Tony Vercanis. All the news you're about to hear is true.
Really?
As far as you know.
Oh, where to begin? How about an unnamed man in Detroit? Which, by the way, anyone who lives in Detroit should be unnamed because it's just wrong. Was arrested for illegally possessing guns in Detroit. I know, I was shocked. But the federal agents who arrived at his home with a search warrant were more interested in how he made a living. Do you wonder how?
Selling guns?
No. See, that would be the obvious, you would think. He sold marijuana from a vending machine attached to his house. See, you laugh. He cleared $2,000 a day. Cleared $2,000 a day. That's $2,000 per day profit.
You know,
math.
Here's the thing.
And it's at his house.
Legally, federally, are gummies. He could switch to gummies and be totally in the clear.
Yeah, again, he's an unnamed man in Detroit, probably not thinking that far.
You know.
According to the AP story, agents with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives made purchases from the machine to collect evidence before the bust. The man was arrested.
This stuff says it's Acapulco Gold.
He's free for the moment on bond, and I do mean for the moment.
So these 14-year-olds decide to camp out in the backyard. There's a regular older neighborhood in the city, not rich, but not a scary place, just working class neighborhood.
Okay, it's where I grew up. Anyway,
no idea what time it was, but I woke up and there was this guy standing amongst us as we lay there on the ground in our sleeping bags. Can you imagine? He was just looking at us. I froze, but I was ready to scream my lungs out as I watched him through the slits of my eyes. After what seemed like a year, he stepped out from between us all, went over, hopped the chain link fence, and walked down the alley. I immediately woke everyone and went inside to tell my friend's mom. Obviously, we finished the sleepover inside. It was also the last outside sleepover ever.
Know why? Scared.
Yep. That would be just creepy.
Yeah. Proof that celebrities are as stupid as, the rest of us. Remember the actor James Cromwell? Remember, he's still around.
Yeah.
He's 82. His favorite role, by the way, was a one-shot on ER for me.
Okay.
That was he's in Succession now, I think. He was in Babe, Pig in the City.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about. He had a
one-shot. He was a dying bishop, I believe. And he wanted to know, so they bring in the lady priestess.
Okay.
And she gives him the stock TV answers to all the things about death, right?
Yeah.
And he gets very upset and wants to know the real deal. I thought, That's network television. Wow.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Great.
Nice.
And
And he'd be great at that.
And he was perfect.
Yeah.
He's also a little bit
Odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
The Succession actor glued his palm into a Midtown Manhattan Starbucks store counter in May to protest the extra charge the coffee company assesses for plant-based milk in their drink. Cromwell is a longtime animal rights guy. For its part, Starbucks seemed a bit nonplussed. The protest, of course, organized by people eating tasty animals.
Oh, I like them.
They characterized the non-dairy milk customizations as similar to any other, like adding espresso shots or syrup. Apparently that wasn't right because now you're adding an extra charge. Luckily, he brought his penknife because that's how he had to scrape his hand off the counter later.
Nutburger.
Oh, I'd pay for security camera footage of that part.
So this guy about to be a doctor. He's in his last rotation in medical school before graduating.
Aren't we done now?
No.
Okay.
And
I want to be done now.
he was going to start his residency after that. He was in a dermatology rotation at the VA hospital.
Oh.
Guy comes in and says, I have hair coming out of my hand. Figure he meant a weird mole.
All right, for those of you who are old enough, don't laugh, okay? That's not the funny part.
He meant a weird mole or some hair coming out. But this guy, who was probably in his late 30s or early 40s, said, no, the hair's coming out from under the skin. Resident asked him what he did for a living. He was a barber. Apparently, it's not too uncommon for hair to poke through the skin, especially for barbers who cut men's hair. It's short, thin, and can be kind of pokey, right?
Well,
it was sort of like getting a sliver, but with hair. And that's what we expected. But the guy said, no. It's a lot of hair. Take a look. Held up his hand, making a fist. There were several hairs poking out from between the knuckles of his pointer and middle finger. I stared in confusion. The resident grabbed some tweezers to pull out maybe half a dozen short black hairs. Guy said, yeah, I already pulled out like 50. That's when the resident's face dropped. We numbed the backside of the hand between the first and second knuckle, made a little incision. Found a mass of hair and started pulling gobs, I say, of short black hair. Chunk of 20, chunk of 30. At some point, she gets the magnifying glass and says, oh my gosh, there's still more in there. Do you know how all this hair got in your hand? And his answer was so disturbing, it's unforgettable. He said, oh, it probably came in through here. Flipped his hand over to reveal a hole in his palm. Turns out he'd cut himself like 2 years before this, and it never healed properly because he was a diabetic. So he just kept cutting hair with this open wound on his hand. Probably every day a few hairs got stuck for 2 years. Now those hairs had tunneled through the webbing between his first and second fingers from the front of his hand and coming out the backside. We spent 30 minutes milking his hand and fingers while more and more hair came out. She says, there's no way I'm going to get it all out, so you have to come back every 2 weeks for a few months for us to keep removing more hair from your hand. So it wasn't what you thought at all.
No, it was worse, and I didn't think that was possible. Wow, dude, I think you've just won the internet with weird.
All right.
If not won it, you certainly are in, contention.
Oh, baby.
Wow.
This is true, really news. Send email to TITR@netradio.network.